Assalamu alaikum. Inshallah, everybody's doing well. I wanted to share a few ayat today from Surah Yunus. So, Surah Yunus is a Meccan surah, and it comes in a series of surahs that have a lot of stories of previous nations. That's going to be Surah Yunus, Surah Hud, and Surah Yusuf to come. And so, for those of you that have been trying to keep up and read a juz or listen to a juz, each day, this would have been yesterday's reading. And Surah Yunus reminds us to reflect upon, it's a really beautiful surah, to reflect upon the creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to look at all of the signs that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created for us and that lead us to Him and to this realization that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is our creator and that He alone deserves to be worshipped and uh, that we will be resurrected and judged for our deeds. So really the core essence of our faith is found in these Meccan surahs, and Surah Yunus is a really good example of that. Now, one of the themes that we find in the Quran that's repeated twice, or at least twice in this surah, is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala describes the nature of man and criticizes us in that we shouldn't be people who only turn to Allah in times of difficulty and distress. And so this is really important in light of the situation we're in with COVID and difficulties that are coming upon us. We want to be people who remember Allah in times of distress for sure, but we also want to remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in times of good, and we don't want to be people who make promises to Allah in times of difficulty and then not fulfill or upkeep those promises when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala makes things easy. So if you look at ayah number 12, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that وَإِذَا مَسَّ الْإِنسَانَ الضُّرُّ دَعَانَا لِجَنْبِهِ أَوْ قَاعِدًا أَوْ قَائِمًا فَلَمَّا كَشَفْنَا عَنْهُ ضُرَّهُ مَرَّ كَأَن لَّمْ يَدْعُنَا إِلَى ضُرٍّ مَسَّهُ كَذَلِكَ زُيِّنَ لِلْمُسْرِفِينَ مَا كَانُوا يَعْمَلُونَ. He says that when man is afflicted by hardship, he prays to us, right? And that's obviously not a bad thing at all. That's a good thing. وَإِذَا مَسَّ الْإِنسَانَ الضُّرُّ دَعَانَا لِجَنْبِهِ أَوْ قَاعِدًا أَوْ قَائِمًا. So basically all of the time, a person is crying to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to relieve the difficulty, to relieve the hardship. Now, that's not a problem. However, فَلَمَّا كَشَفْنَا عَنْهُ ضُرَّهُ مَرَّ كَأَن لَّمْ يَدْعُنَا إِلَى ضُرٍّ مَسَّهُ. SubhanAllah, Allah says, but when we remove his hardship, he just takes his way as though he had never prayed to us in the first place. And that there was no hardship that afflicted him. This is how their deeds appear beautified to the transgressors. So this is a really stark reminder Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying that don't be like those people who only call upon Allah in times of stress, when financial conditions are hard, when somebody gets sick, when somebody passes away. But we should be people who always are remembering Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and Ramadan is the best time for that. Now, verse number 22 as a similar theme, but a really beautiful ayah. And remember, the Prophet ﷺ is in Mecca. It's a desert. There is no water. And yet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala paints this picture for us in surah, in verse number 22. He says, هُوَ الَّذِي يُسَيِّرُكُمْ فِي الْبَرِّ وَالْبَحْرِ حَتَّى إِذَا كُنْتُمْ فِي الْفُلْكِ وَجَرَيْنَ بِهِمْ بِرِيحٍ طَيِّبَةٍ وَفَرِحُوا بِهَا جَاءَتْهَا رِيحٌ عَاصِفٌ وَجَاءَهُمُ الْمَوْجُ مِنْ كُلِّ مَكَانٍ وظنوا أنهم أحيط بهم دعوا الله مخلصين له الدين لئن أنجيتنا من هذه لنكونن من الشاكرين. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, He is the one who enables you to travel on land and on the sea, until when you are aboard the boats and they sail with those on board under favorable wind. Right? So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says you're basically on this boat and you're enjoying yourself. وَفَرِحُوا بِهَا جاءتها ريح عاصف وجاءهم الموج من كل مكان. Then waves come upon them from every direction. So there's this wind that comes, and then there's a bunch of waves. Now imagine if you're on this ship and the waves are starting to flood the boat. What happens? وَظَنُّوا أَنَّهُمْ أُحِيطَ بِهِمْ دَعَوُوا اللَّهَ مُخْلِصِينَ لَهُ الدِّينَ. They begin to think they're surrounded. They begin to think that we're going to drown. And what happens? دَعَوُوا اللَّهَ مُخْلِصِينَ لَهُ الدِّينَ. They make this sincere dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That moment when the boat is rocking, when there's turbulence on the plane, when you think you're going to sink, you make the most sincere dua. And you say, or these people say, فَلَمَّا دعوا الله مخلصين له الدين لئن أنجيتنا من هذه لنكونن من الشاكرين. That, oh Allah, if you save us, we're going to be among those who are grateful. We're going to do good deeds. We're going to follow your commandments. We're going to do all of these things. What happens shortly thereafter, though? Allah says, فَلَمَّا أَنْجَاهُمْ إِذَا هُمْ يَبْغُونَ فِي الْأَرْضِ بِغَيْرِ الْحَقِّ. That when we deliver them, when we save them from this difficulty, they at once start rebelling on the earth, going back to the way they were before. And it's, I think, a really good reminder in light of COVID, because we pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to have mercy on the ummah and to relieve this condition and to make things easy for us and to allow us to gather back in the masjid. And a lot of us probably have these hopes and desires that, oh Allah, if you allow us, then I'm going to do X, Y, and Z. But we want to make those promises now, and we want to aim to fulfill them. We want to use Ramadan as the catalyst, as the time to build good habits, so that inshallah, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala makes things easy and opens up the doors for us, that we rush towards Him and return to Him instead of, going back the other way. So we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to forgive us in these 10 days of forgiveness, these special days of Ramadan that we're in, and to have mercy on the whole ummah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, to enable us to recite the Quran and reflect upon it and implement it in our lives and share it with others. Wa akhiru da'wana anil hamdulillahi rabbil alameen. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.